Hey folks, it's William with All Solar Texas. If you are looking into going solar and you've been approached by different solar companies offering you either a PPA or a solar lease as an option for purchasing that system or actually acquiring that system, you're going to want to watch this video to make sure that there are no surprises and that you are not caught off guard by some of the catches and some of the things that can go wrong. Pros and cons, we'll break them down in this video. Stay tuned. All right, thanks for joining the channel. Now, the solar industry has really undergone a significant change over the last year and a half, 2 years. Once the Federal Reserve started to raise interest rates, the cost of financing money for any type of commercial product or consumer product, be it a car, be it a home, be it a solar system, be it credit card loans or credit card interest rates, all of these rates began to rise. And so it became very expensive to borrow money, and things that you were financing now got more expensive. Not just because of inflation did these products get more expensive, but mainly because of the financing terms. Now there's fees being added, there's higher interest rates, so gone are the days of a 0% interest rate or a 1.99% interest rate. So this is really driving up the cost of all consumer goods. Now in the solar market, we've particularly been hit because much like the automobile industry, most of our customers choose to finance solar. Not everybody, not every household has $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in cash that they can put down towards a system. Some customers do, and those customers are not impacted by the interest rate hikes and some of those price adjustments that we've seen lately. But if you are a customer that's been financing your solar or looking to finance your solar, it's just gotten too expensive. It's gotten more expensive than just paying your normal utility bills. So what solar companies have decided to do is to push two different products, a PPA, which is a power purchase agreement, and a lease option. Both of these options do not require any money down or any money out of pocket. Now, these two products work differently than a normal solar financing loan. In a normal solar financing loan, you own the solar system, so it's yours. You can choose to put down money or not. If you choose to finance the entire thing, once you pay off the life of the loan, then you are done. That asset is now owned by you. So if you own your home, you also want to own the solar that's put on top of it. Now, for some people, they don't have that kind of money or they can't afford a solar payment right now. So solar companies are offering leases. What a solar lease is the solar company owns the solar equipment. They install it, and then they just charge you a monthly fee, which goes up little by little over time. Now, the whole idea of it is that your solar lease payment is going to be less than your utility bill. So you should be saving some money up front, and it's not an asset, so you're not owning it, you're not having to go out of pocket, but you also don't get the 30% federal tax credit. So now you own a home, but the solar company owns the system on top of your home, and you have to pay them a certain amount of money over time. Now, the reason why this is not a great deal is because the solar company now gets the 30% federal tax credit. It now makes it a little bit trickier to sell your home because you have to transfer that lease to the potential buyer if you decide to move out or sell your home. It's a very difficult situation to be in when you're trying to sell your home and then you have to talk somebody into accepting the terms of this solar lease. That is very, very difficult to get out. I have many customers that call me. They're frustrated by the terms of their lease agreement and they cannot get out of it because it's pretty ironclad when it comes to being a legally binding arrangement between you and the solar company. Now that differs from a PPA or a power purchase agreement. With the power purchase agreement, it's also offered as an option by the solar company, but it's not the solar company that buys your system. It's an outside investor. There's a lot of money in San Francisco and in New York, and some of these hedge funds are looking for assets to sink their funds into so that they could capture as much of the tax breaks as possible. And so they'll offer something called a PPA, which is just a way of paying for the solar that goes on your roof. So once again, you don't own the solar, but the solar company doesn't either. They're just the installer. They're the middleman, so they get their cut. But now you have to pay the PPA people, the holders of that power purchase agreement. And they'll also charge you, ideally, less than what your current utility is paying you. And then they will put a little 3-4% escalator year after year. So you'll continue to pay a little bit more, but not as much as you would be in utility bills. But still, they now keep the 30% federal tax credit. You now have a system that, once again, you don't own, that's on a home that you own. And so if you go to sell that home or move out of that home and you want to transfer ownership, the new tenants or the new owners now need to qualify and accept all the terms of that PPA. So if you're a younger couple or you're looking at solar and it's a long-term investment for you, but you're younger, I would say just wait. If you can't afford the solar payment right now, just wait to go solar. We have 10 years of this 30% federal tax credit, so there's really no rush. Now, PPAs and lease agreements are a good option for a very slim subsection of Texas residents, primarily if you're older or if you're operating in a nonprofit space or something like that. Now, let me explain. If you're 75 years old or you're 80 years old and your electric bills are just crushing your budget, you are looking for options to save money. Now, if you own solar right now and you go out and you take a solar loan, odds are you're going to be paying more for that loan every month than you would be for just your normal utility bills. So the option then becomes, well, how do I lower my electric costs without really hurting me and hurting my budget? That's when a lease becomes a viable option or a PPA becomes a viable option. The reason why it works and it makes a little bit more sense for older folks is because, sad to say, older folks aren't going to necessarily live for the next 25 or 30 years to see through the term or the life of that solar lease or that PPA. They're also not going to live long enough to see the return on their investment. When you own solar and you install solar, your return on investment normally is it takes about 10 or 12 years to actually create the payback period, which is the amount of money that you would have paid anyway for utilities to service or to actually purchase your solar system. And then your ROI kicks in, your return on investment. So your return on investment kicks in at year 13 or 14 or 15 for most people. Well, if you're 80 years old and you don't really think that you're going to be able to see that return on investment, then it really doesn't make sense for you to invest in solar. And also, you probably don't have a lot of tax liability. So the federal tax credit, that 30% federal tax credit, which subsidizes that system, if you're on a fixed income or you're retired, you're only on Social Security, you're not going to be paying a whole lot in taxes. So it will take you a very long time to recoup that 30% federal tax credit, which just means that you're now having to front the entire cost of the system yourself. So if you're in that situation, then a PPA or a lease actually makes sense. But again, that's for a very slim margin of folks out there that have much higher utility bills than what they can afford. And a PPA or lease option gets them into a solar system that reduces the amount of money that they're having to pay for their utilities, and they don't need to worry about going out of pocket or owning anything or even worrying about maintenance or anything like that, because these PPA and lease agreements come with some kind of maintenance plan and warranties and all of that stuff. So it really is a turnkey, set it and forget it thing. But ownership is much more preferred, especially if you're younger and if you plan to have your home for a long time. All right, so that's pretty much it for the PPA and the lease option. If you have any other questions about these options, please reach out to us, give us a call, send us a text message, email us. We'll set up some time to go through different options. We do not offer PPA and lease options ourselves. We do offer financing and, of course, cash options, but I'm more than happy to look at other proposals that you might have and let you know if you're getting a good deal. So thank you so much for checking us out, and God bless.